Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Sir Han on X, live from Cincinnati, Ohio, in the United States. A bit of a chilly day, but it's supposed to be colder this weekend. See, I got this thing going to keep myself warm. You're feeling better than I did yesterday, with everything I've had with the flu and the back problems. But a frigid day here in Cincinnati. It's supposed to get colder. For those that are following or watching in the greater Cincinnati area, stay warm as best as you can because it's supposed to dip over the next couple weeks. But of course, it's supposed to be 55 on Christmas here in Cincinnati. Just nothing but rain. Go figure. Ohio weather is the strangest anomaly, probably all walks of life. I hope everyone here is doing well today. Probably one of the bigger shows I've done since I've done this live streaming thing because lots coming up here soon. The NFL, of course, playoff time approaching for the NFL, the college football playoff starting. Of course, the giant fight this weekend between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury, the rematch, where basically, I guess Tyson Fury decided to take kindly to the kitchen a little bit. I'll divulge into that, give you the official prediction because I've made a slight change. The keyword being slight is not what you think it is. But now then, I'm going to do this real quick. Uh, so start it with the game today. Last night that took place, it was the Chargers over the Broncos. Tale of two halves. Denver showed up the first half, didn't in the second. Chargers didn't show up in the first half, but showed up in the second half. Of course, the game turned when that free kick after the fair catch interference penalty that took place, kicks the 58-yarder. I said from that point we were going to have a different game. Life was breathing the Chargers a little bit. Denver sort of just casually, I don't know what they were thinking in the second half. They just fell asleep at the wheel, it seemed like, because they had this game under wraps and under control. But, Justin Herbert showed the whole world why he's a top 4 quarterback in this league behind Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, and basically made big plays, key runs, especially in the fourth quarter to basically ice it and seal it. The Chargers more likely going to go to the playoffs now. They have a 98% probability. Denver is still at 87%. It's going to come down to what they do next Saturday in Cincinnati. But a big one for the Chargers. Herbert showed why he's the top quarterback. Bo Nix played well the first half, but just didn't play good in the second half. Poorly coached game by Sean Payton all the way around. I mean, even when they were up, they weren't necessarily all that great. I mean, they got a gift touchdown largely because of an eligible man downfield that wasn't called. And of course, people are bringing over a missed pass interference call. But the problem was the Broncos had the game and for the most part in control. And the second half just fell asleep at the wheel. But kudos to the Chargers. They're more likely headed to the playoffs because they got the Patriots and the Raiders after this. They're not losing either of them. Probably going to get that 6th seed, probably face the AFC North winner, whether it be Baltimore or Pittsburgh. So good win for the Chargers. Broncos are still going to make the playoffs. They're going to get that 7th seed in the AFC. No need to sweat it. They're going to be just fine. But sort of a bad blow here with this. And of course, I talk about Justin Herbert. We talk about all the standout quarterbacks in this league, and man, there are a ton of them, as we all know. That's not along the Fab Four for now. For now, it's Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow just behind him, albeit not by much. Throw a couple of other guys here. Jordan Love of Green Bay is a pretty darn good one. Of course, C.J. Stroud in Houston. But this year, I think Justin Herbert just showed why he's still a top quarterback, and there's still, differentiating opinions all the way around about him. Of course, he didn't have the receiving core like, say, Joe Burrow has in Cincinnati, or even what Patrick Mahomes has in Kansas City. But he's still, to me, still a top 5 quarterback. He was drafted behind Burrow in 2020. Of course, had they not Cincinnati not taken Burrow, they would have taken Herbert because they liked him as much as Burrow. But Justin Herbert, say what you want, he's still a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. I think unanimously across the board, he belongs to the top 5. I think he's a top 4 quarterback. Basically, last year, of course, still maligned by what happened a couple years ago in Jacksonville when the Chargers blew that 30-0 lead in Jacksonville in that playoff game. But it was more had to do with Brandon Staley being just an idiotic moron as a head coach. But that Justin Herbert is a top 4 quarterback. Say what you want. I mean, put a real team around him. Let's see what he does. I mean, they have something going on right now. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, when they hired him, sort of changed the culture a little bit, and you see the results. They're going to go to the playoffs. We're likely going to beat New England coming up next and to basically make it official. So that's Justin Herbert. We're going to probably talk more about him in the playoffs as the season comes down to an end. Of course, big news just broke out of Baltimore. It was the release of Dionte Johnson. Of course, Dionte Johnson, you guys know, was supposed to go into a game for the Ravens. He refused. I guess the thing just soured badly, and the Ravens did the right thing, just simply cut their losses. I mean, the guy wasn't doing. I didn't even count 10 plays he even played in since they got him from Carolina. I mean, maybe case of addition by subtraction. Baltimore can just move on because they have bigger fish to fry coming up. Of course, a big game tomorrow against Pittsburgh, more than likely for the AFC North title. I mean, kudos to Baltimore for just basically sidelining him and then realizing they can't do anything with him. It's not worth keeping him around regardless. That basically just part ways. Now, of course, my Steelers friends and Steelers followers are talking about wanting him back. I mean, wouldn't mind it, but the question is going to be, is it worth going down that route again? I mean, I know you guys need a number 2 receiver. Not sure that this guy's the answer though, because you guys seen in Pittsburgh before. Baltimore just witnessed it. What kind of a headache he is. Talented, solid receiver, very solid receiver, no doubt about it when he's on. But is the cons? The case of the cons outweigh the pros. I'm not sure he's not worth being on anybody's roster this season. So, but I don't think necessarily Pittsburgh really needs him. They're supposed to get George Pickens back, hopefully. The only way I could see them getting Dionte Johnson is if the Pickens hamstring injury is worse than what's being let on. That's probably it. But even then, I'm not sure if it's worth the headaches because he went through this once before when he was on their roster. But let's see where we go with here. Solid receiver. I think a solid fit. He's going to have to grow up a little bit and mature a little bit, that being Dionte Johnson. Because I said after his time at Pittsburgh, if he wasn't going to listen to Mike Tomlin, he wasn't going to listen to anyone. I mean, maybe Mike Tomlin can probably make a resurrection project out of this if he goes back there. Solid chance, but who knows? Of course, speaking of a hot mess, here in Cincinnati, Bengals fans decided to get involved again after the game last night because they were so sick-headed, obsessed over wanting the Chargers to win, thinking they have a slim to nothing chance of making the playoffs. albeit open from this to this, albeit you see the difference. Problem is, you blew this a long, 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 long time ago. When you start seasons 0-2 and 0-3, the way you have the last 4 years is going to catch up with you. Yeah, you had the fairy tale story in 2022 when you went 0-2, had that humiliating loss in Cleveland on Halloween to come back to win 10 straight, only to lose to Kansas in the AFC title game. But you went 0-2 the year after. You went 0-2, you went 0-3 this season, and it went to 1-4. Basically, your biggest win this season was a downturning Dallas team. And you guys see, give this, if this woulda, coulda, shoulda, what if this, what if that? Well, I got news for you. What if my aunt had balls? She'd be my uncle. That's what I have to say to you Bengals fans right now who's still thinking about the playoffs. I mean, forget it. I mean, they're going to beat Cleveland tomorrow, Sunday. They're going to beat Cleveland, no doubt about it. But good luck next Saturday against Denver because you're going to have a refocused and a pissed off Denver team who pretty much knew they laid an egg in LA last night. Because that game this Saturday is going to be huge all the way around. And of course, you need more help along the way. But even if you're fortunate to beat Denver, you're going to Pittsburgh for the season finale. And guess what? Mike Tomlin would love nothing more than to officially put you guys in your misery, and you know he's licking his chops. I don't want to hear about the Chiefs resting players for that Week 18 game against Denver as a conspiracy theory against you guys. Kansas City doesn't even care about you guys right now. They don't. They care about going for that third straight Super Bowl. You guys never took care of your own business. You laid an egg against New England at home. You let Jaden Daniels dog walk you. You let Lamar Jackson dog walk you twice. And just recently at home, you let Russell Wilson dog walk you. And even Jalen Hurts. Let all that sink in for a minute when you talk about all of this. Because this season was lost back in the beginning. Everything you say is fine and dandy, but if you don't get out of the gates quickly, you're fixing for what you deserve. You made that bet a long time ago. Don't try to weasel your way out of it. Might as well just shut up, bite the bullet, and go lie in it. Because that's what you guys deserve right now. Hook, line, and sinker. You guys don't deserve anything. Seriously. I mean, you're going to beat Cleveland Sunday. You will beat Cleveland. I will acknowledge that because Cleveland just hit the downturn. But good luck Saturday against Denver, and good luck after that going to Pittsburgh. Because either if you're fortunate to beat Denver, Mike Tomlin's going to lick his chops and put you out your misery for good. He would love nothing more than knock out a division rival for good, regardless of the situation. Good luck. And speaking of the Cleveland Browns, this was broke not too long ago. Also, it was revealed that standout defensive end Myles Garrett has said he wants to stay in Cleveland long term. Because that's his home. That's where he's basically started his career there. He wants to end it there, but he doesn't want to be a part of a real building project. Yeah, he wants to be on a team that wins now. They have the roster that wins now, but when you did what you did 3 years ago with that trade for the quarterback and threw Baker Mayfield under the bus, you blew it. This is a domino effect of what took place after you made that trade. We try to tell you guys in Cleveland. We tried to tell you in Cleveland this was going to be the result, and nobody wanted to listen. We tried to tell you 2024, 25, you're going to have some lingering issues coming up because you had the sick-headed obsession of wanting to throw Baker Mayfield under the bus because he couldn't beat the Chiefs in 2020. I don't know what you guys wanted out of the guy. You guys still haven't told me what it was. You get this quarterback who quit on Houston, guaranteed him $230 million, and now the dominoes are all over the place. When you have your stand-out franchise guy like Myles Garrett, who to me is still the face of your franchise, in my opinion, just basically saying that and basically saying, don't rebuild a team and put me on a win-now roster. You don't listen to that, you're basically begging for trouble at this point because I don't know what the hell to tell you. I mean, Myles Garrett gave us all during this time, and we know the Browns have been a mockery of jokes for many, many, many reasons. I get it. I'm a part of being a fan of a division rival. I hope you guys in Cleveland love the basement because you're getting what you deserve. For your franchise player to say this and you don't want to listen because we know Jim Haslam, their owner, doesn't care about a winning product. For this to happen speaks volumes because this was coming. It was coming. Still the after fact of when you made that big trade 3 years ago for that quarterback from Houston to cough up those draft picks, guarantee him through $230 million fully, and basically have one playoff appearance to show where you were dog walked in Houston. I don't blame Myles Garrett for the frustration. I mean, the guy's an elite edge rusher. Last year won the Defensive Player of the Year, albeit with an asterisk. But still, your franchise guy says this, and you think of what you did this whole time. Somebody there has shown intentional incompetence, whether it be Jimmy Haslam or, of course, or Andrew Berry, the GM. My guess is he's going to probably he's going to probably want out because Cleveland isn't going anywhere, and they basically owe it to Myles Garrett to play on a contender who's willing to put a winning product out there. Maybe trade him to a team like Detroit or a team like Philly, who could use edge rushers. I could point at maybe a few others, but you owe it to Myles Garrett, who's basically poured his soul into that city and that team to put together a winning product. And if you're not going to put a winning product, you owe it to him to play for a contender seeking chase a Super Bowl ring to help out a standout career. Standout player deserves much better than what Cleveland has given him. And this is, again, a byproduct of what took place a few years ago when they made that idiotic trade with Houston, fully guaranteed the quarterback $230 million. We know what the story all that is. Good luck, Myles Garrett. You deserve nothing but the best. I'll acknowledge that. Of course, tomorrow, the two big games, final picks are going to be the home teams, Baltimore and Kansas City. Of course, we have idiots still thinking Patrick Mahomes faked his injury, especially in Buffalo and Cincinnati. You guys need to shut up. You don't have a leg to stand on. Let me just end that out of the way. Now to the big one that's coming up tonight, and of course this weekend, begins the college football playoff. I don't talk this much about this much because I don't have much to stand on, but because everyone's doing a bunch of this when it comes to rankings, especially the idiots in Columbus regarding Ohio State, you guys need to shut up. I'll go ahead and talk about it. Actually, the committee got this one perfectly right. I mean, perfectly. Indiana at Notre Dame tonight. All Indiana showdown. It's just going to be crazy over there. Actually, football weather is supposed to, actually, I heard it's snowing over there at South Bend. Right now, this is a no-brainer. The college coach of the year is Kirk Cignetti of Indiana. What he's done with that program, basically, only losing to Ohio State. But other than that, turn them into a top 10, put them in the college playoff, top 10 team in the nation. Shout out to him. This is a very interesting matchup as I was reading this. A lot of the matchups. One interesting one is that the standout receiver, Elijah Sarrett, going against that young secondary of Notre Dame, Christian Gary and Leonard Moore. One thing that's interesting is Notre Dame gave up the fewest explosive plays in the nation all year long. And of course, Sarrett came off a game against Purdue where he just exploded, which included the 80-yard touchdown run. And of course, the bigger question is going to be what happens on the other side. Will the Indiana linebackers, Aiden Fisher and Jalen Walker, slow down the two-headed monster at running back, which is Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price? Both averaged nearly 7 yards a carry each. And you talk about going against that roster, and you have a quarterback in Riley Leonard at Notre Dame, a dual threat quarterback a la Josh Allen, a la Lamar Jackson, averaging 10 yards a carry. First dual threat he's going to face this season. It's going to come down to, of course, who can institute their game plan on the other. I'm surprised at how a lot of people are already leaning on the Notre Dame bandwagon thing. They're going to win this one going away. I don't know what the spread is. I'm going to pull this up. The spread, I believe, was something like 7 for Notre Dame, which I'm fine with. Yeah, it's 7 for Notre Dame. I think Indiana covers, but give me Notre Dame at home. I think they just do just enough to get the win. I mean, Indiana is going to have their hands full with a dual quarterback like Riley Leonard. Now, let me remind you, one thing that has to happen in this game is Indiana's offensive line has to play significantly better than the last time I seen them against Ohio State, because Ohio State's defense just dog walked that Indiana front line. And they'll have to play much better than that to win this game. This is a no-brainer. I think this is going to be maybe the most compelling matchup out of all the first round games we have going on in the college football playoff. The all Indiana showdown. And of course, in snow weather, which for you sissies out there, snow weather is football weather, whether you like it or not. If you don't like football playing in the snow, shut up, turn the TV off, and get out because I ain't dealing with you. Football is made to be played in cold weather and the snow, whether you like it or not. High school, college, NFL, period. So I got to say about that. But I think this game tonight is going to be a good doozy. Points might be all over the place. Wouldn't surprise me Indiana won because Kurt Signetti has put together a hell of a team, and they've basically exploded and played pretty exceptionally well, all things considered. I don't think anyone saw this one. Excuse me, this one coming. So kudos to Kirk Signetti. Hopefully, Indiana does win. It's one of the real feel-good stories with him and that team across the nation. Should be a good one tonight. Of course, that takes care of my football talk. The segue to, I guess, what everybody likes to call my specialty. This is, of course, the big fight tomorrow night. The rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. They had the weigh-in today. Story here: Tyson Fury, 281 pounds. I think the guy trained at the fast food buffets in London. I don't know all the fast food chains over there in London. Maybe my English followers can tell me some of the best ones. Maybe when I go over there, I'll check it out. But it tells me that Tyson Fury isn't taking this as seriously as he led us on to be. That's why I said yesterday when I saw the open workouts, something was amiss, and didn't look like he wanted to be there. I'll give you this. I guess he maybe lost 2 to 3 pounds off shaving that beard he had because he had that thick beard, and I guess he shaved it at the weigh-in. And of course, he tried to get Oleksandr Usyk's face and headbutt him, try and intimidate him, which is a case of Fury being Fury. We know what Fury is. But as I've said in all of my boxing shows, especially the one I was on earlier this week, you're not going to intimidate Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk is just a different brand, a different breed. He is who he is at the end of the day. Stoic, non-emotional face. You can do and say anything you want. Usyk is always going to be Usyk. And when he's Usyk, that means you're begging for an L. Because no one has beaten him up to this point, and I expect that to continue tomorrow. I originally went unanimous decision for Usyk, but now I got a chance to see more of this. Now I got a chance to see the weight. I'm going to take a slight turn and go Usyk and a stoppage in the 10th round. It seems to me that Fury's going to try to implement the strategy here, what he implemented on Deontay Wilder in the second or third fight, which is use his big body, lean on him, try to get Usyk to wear out the way Deontay Wilder did. But Oleksandr Usyk isn't Deontay Wilder. He's not going to let Tyson Fury use his size. If anything, I expect Oleksandr Usyk to use Tyson Fury's size more as a handicap against Fury than as a strength for Fury. I mean, I expect him to turn, that southpaw stance, hooks on the other side. Of course, it was the right hook that hurt him in the 9th round to where Fury hung on for dear life. Last time, the referee saved Usyk, we know, in the 9th round because, Fury was hurt bad. I thought that was a 3-point round without a knockdown. But I think this time, Usyk's going to finish. This time, I think Usyk gets him hurt again, finishes the job, and basically just ends this 2-fight nuisance for good. I don't think a second fight was necessary. I think Usyk won the fight more convincingly than the judges had it. I had it 8-3-1 rounds for Usyk. The only reason, of course, is because Fury has a rematch clause. He wanted to instigate it. And, of course, Daniel Dubois cried like a baby because he wanted a fake championship. Usyk said you can have it. But let me remind you guys again, this is the real heavyweight championship tomorrow night. The real one. Not the fake one between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker next year. The real one. And I expect Oleksandr Usyk, the number one fighter in the sport pound for pound, to find a way to get the job done and stop him in the late rounds. I'm going to predict it in the 10th round. Just not sure what Tyson Fury is thinking going to the weight scales at 281 pounds. I'm reminded back in 1990 when James Buster Douglas, after he upset Mike Tyson, signed away 246 for his fight of Evander Holyfield, and we saw what happened there. One lazy uppercut by Douglas, the overhand right by Holyfield, down and out went Douglas, and the party was over. Now, I don't think it'll be quite like that, but I think Usyk is going to win this one rather handily this time. Thought it'd be more of a competitive fight because I thought Fury, on his on his downturn would probably have that last great performance, but it seemed like he doesn't even care right now. Of course, they had the Usyk try to trash talk him at the Fury tried to trash talk Usyk at the weigh-in, which to no avail because I said Oleksandr Usyk is Oleksandr Usyk, and probably the first time in Fury's career where his antics wasn't going to do him any good, simply because you're not going to get to Oleksandr Usyk any single way possible. I expect Usyk to remain the number one fighter in the sport, pound for pound. And of course, speaking of the number one fighter, pound for pound, this took place back almost, see, 2476. This took place 78 years ago today when the world was introduced to the number one pound for pound fighter of all time. This was Sugar Ray Robinson winning his first world title when he beat Tommy Bell at Madison Square Garden in front of 15,000 fans. Known as Walker Smith Jr., he eventually became Sugar Ray Robinson, fighting Tommy Bell, a sturdy fighter who was 39-10, the legit welterweight champion. Let me remind you guys again, one belt era, one belt, winner takes all. That's what it was. Tommy Bell had it. Sugar Ray Robinson won it. Came from a slow start where he was decked early and eventually came on to show the world why he's Sugar Ray Robinson. Dominated for the rest of the way to win the decision. Rounds were in the 15-round fight. It was around the 9, 6, 10, 5 range. I think one judge had it 8, 5, 2 for Sugar Ray Robinson, but got off to the slow start and won it going away. Again, for you guys that yap about the judging, this was the round system, which is I think I would like to go back to instead of the point system, because the round system back then, the winner of the round basically won the round. That's how it's documented. You had the one fighter, the other fighter. Check mark the guy who won the round, count out the rounds, they won it. Because that's what that era was. And Sugar Ray Robinson did it to Tommy Bell to win the welterweight championship. Of course, the career of Ray Robinson, super well chronicled all over the place, the greatest pound for pound fighter of all time. But this was his coming out party at all places, Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing at the time. When you have a standout performance at Madison Square Garden, you knew what was coming because that's where all the lights were. And of course, the world was introduced to the greatest pound for pound of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson. Of course, won multiple titles at middleweight, beating guys like Bubba Olson and among many others. Of course, the 6-fight series with Jake LaMotta, fought Randy Turpin, Gene Fullmer, among many. Of course, the challenge of Joey Maxson for the light heavyweight title. Had the fight won until the fight, he basically was forced to, sit on the stool because of heat exhaustion because it was ridiculously hot for that fight. But of course, it was after the Maxson fight. He went back down to more solidified again by wasting Bubba Olson in 2 rounds to win the middleweight championship for a third time. And 2 months later, he beat Olson again to win it in the 4th round to solidify it in that great fight series. But it was 78 years ago today, the boxing world was introduced to the greatest pound for pound fighter of all time, the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Nobody even comes close to this. I mean, I said the only ones that really come close probably are Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, Henry Armstrong. Maybe throw a guy like a Harry Greb and a Benny Leonard in there. More modern, you can go Duran and Leonard. But even then, they're still miles behind what Sugar Ray Robinson was. Very unique style. His beauty in the ring was second to none. Didn't throw any wild jukes. Just threw just enough. I mean, just enough to make you think, make you second guess, and make you look foolish. I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson for that era was a thing of beauty. There's still footage out there in the YouTube and Rumble channels if you want to watch him. And he was just a standout fighter. His skills was second to none. His ability to control the ring. And we talk about ring generalship. Nobody all time knew ring generalship better than Sugar Ray Robinson. You can nitpick the record all you want because a lot of people like to nitpick records and resumes. Doesn't deter the fact the ultimate conclusion at the end of the day, widely regarded, virtually unanimously, as the greatest pound for pound fighter of all time. I mean, he was a thing of beauty. Nobody even remotely came close after that time. Maybe a couple guys like to say it because of their O's, but doesn't deserve to be in the conversation. Of course, the list changes from time to time, as we all know. But still, Sugar Ray Robinson all time is way up there. Compared to him, everybody else is way down there. Very, very, very sizable gap. Nobody did it better than Ray Robinson. So it was 78 years ago today. It was introduced, sealed it. I can point to many times he sealed it, but he's the ultimate pound for pound king ever. Don't try and change my opinion on it because you guys nobody has a leg to stand on when it comes to this case. And on that note, I will wrap up this half-hour edition of Sirhan on X. I hope everyone has themselves a wonderful 20th of December 2024. For my college football followers, enjoy the game tonight. Tomorrow, a special edition of Sirhan on X. I will recap Usyk-Fury 2, talking about the Tennessee-Ohio State game, and of course, talk about the 2 Saturday games, Houston to Kansas and Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Hope everyone out there has themselves a wonderful, warm, and cozy night. For those living in the Cincinnati area, stay warm, just like me. I still have this thing going, as you can see. But until then, have a good night. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and enjoy the night.